about selling stuff? For the longest time, the answer was, yeah, pretty much. Marketing was that last step, the art of the transaction. But that definition is just dangerously outdated now. The goalposts haven't just moved, they're on a completely different field.
And here's the big shift. Right here, in a nutshell, we're moving away from hunting for those one-time sales, and instead, we're cultivating these long-term, profitable relationships. It's not just about what you sell anymore, it's really about the value you build with your customers over time.
Okay, so to get our heads around this new landscape, we're going to take a quick tour through 4 key frontiers. We'll look at the revolution in customer relationships, the chaotic digital gold rush, the rise of purpose-driven marketing, and the massive opportunities just waiting in untapped markets. So first up, let's talk about the relationship revolution. This is about seeing your entire business not as this top-down chain of commands, but as a network of partners. And that starts with your suppliers and goes all the way to the end customer. At its core, this means building what's called a marketing network. And this network is so much bigger than just your customer list. We're talking about your employees, your suppliers, even your ad agencies. They're all connected by strong economic and social ties. They're all part of the team. And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the idea. Stop chasing profits directly. Instead, you focus all your energy on building a powerful network of relationships. The thinking is that if that network is healthy and strong, the profits, well, they'll be the natural, inevitable result. So how do you actually build it? Well, the process kind of breaks down into 3 key actions. First, you build a rich database, so you actually know who you're talking to. Then, you use that knowledge to differentiate your communication. No more generic spam, right? And finally, you track the results relentlessly, always refining your approach to strengthen that bond. That whole idea of personalized communication leads us right into our second frontier, the digital gold rush. The internet promised to make all these connections easier than ever, but it came with its own set of rules and a lot of pitfalls. And the trade-off was pretty clear right from the start. On one hand, you had these incredible advantages, precise targeting, tailored messages, and direct interaction. But the limitations were also very real. It was hard to measure, the early web was painfully slow, they actually called it web snarl, and you had to fight through a ton of digital noise just to be heard. So who were these early digital pioneers that marketers were trying to reach? It's really important to remember this is just a snapshot from the very beginning of this shift. Back then, the typical user was likely male, in his 30s, with above-average income and education. It was a pretty niche group, a world away from the universal, diverse audience we see online today. Understanding this starting point just shows how much the digital world has democratized. Beyond just connecting with customers, modern marketing is now about connecting with a purpose. This brings us to our third frontier, the rise of marketing with a conscience, where profit and a positive impact can actually go hand in hand. A huge piece of this is green marketing. And listen, this goes way beyond just slapping an eco-friendly label on a box. We're talking about a fundamental change to the business itself. Modifying products, cleaning up production, designing sustainable packaging, all with the real goal of protecting the environment. So why is this shift happening? It's really being driven by 3 powerful forces. First, the opportunity, a real chance to win over a growing base of conscious consumers. Second, the pressure. It's coming from government regulations and public expectation. And third, it's just simple economics. Reducing waste and improving efficiency can lead to massive cost savings. This focus on social good actually expands the marketing toolkit. Traditionally, you always had the 4 Ps. But for social marketing, where you're trying to change behavior for the better, you need more. You add publics to engage various communities, partnership to join forces for a bigger impact, and policy to advocate for changes that make the right choices easier for everyone. All right, for our final frontier, we're going to look at what might be the biggest opportunity of all, tapping into these huge, often ignored markets. We're talking specifically about the incredible, untapped potential of rural consumers. To understand the sheer scale we're talking about, just consider this. In India alone, there are roughly 470,000 traditional rural markets, or huts. I mean, to put that in perspective, that single network dwarfs the total number of all retail chain stores in the entire United States. The opportunity is just staggering. And this isn't just potential, it's proven purchasing power. Look at this early signal from over 2 decades ago. India's largest insurer discovered that a majority, 55%, of its new policies were sold in rural areas. That was a huge wake-up call for marketers, providing hard evidence of the wealth and demand that existed outside of the big cities. Of course, unlocking this market is a massive puzzle. Marketers face huge hurdles. The logistics of just reaching over 600,000 villages, the deep cultural insight needed to understand diverse needs, the challenge of pricing for value, and the difficulty of promoting products where traditional media barely exists. So when you look across all these frontiers, from relationships to digital, from purpose to new markets, the new rule is really simple. Connect, don't just sell. The real question then is,